Hopefully it's okay over here. Weird. All right, today I'm going to be in shift, and I want to talk to you about mindset. I want you to write a few things down first. I want you to write 3 words: mindset, perspective, and action. And then I want you to write down a quote, and here it is. If mindset is 90% of success, perspective is 90% of mindset. If mindset is 90% of success, perspective is 90% of mindset. Sometimes we just need a new perspective. Now, I also want to share a script with you today. And as I thought about my Survive to Thrive group, and I thought about the format of these daily conversations, changing things up just a little bit, I'm going to bring a new script to you every day. For some of you, it won't be new, but repetition is the mother of learning. So the script for today is, what does a great buyer look like? Now, you could have this script with anyone. It could be a call to a for sale by owner or to a homeowner who says, I'm just going to sell my home by owner, or to an expired listing who says, I've decided that I'm just going to sell the house by owner. I'm not putting it back on the market. Or Hervé, you and I talked about going on an appointment, right? And it could be a conversation with that homeowner as you're touring their home. In other words, before I leave, let me ask you, what does a great buyer look like? Right? Now, when you ask someone that question, remember, sellers go to script school too, but they only have a few scripts. And the good news is you have a whole lot more than they do. So when a seller says, I'm just going to sell my home by owner, my response could be, what does a great buyer look like? Now, what do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, someone who can afford my home. That's their script. Correct? And your response to that is, sure, I agree. And can I share with you what a great buyer looks like to me? Now, what do you think they're going to say, Aaron? Yes, of course. And a great buyer to me is someone who sold their house yesterday and they need to buy a home in the next 30 days. Jonathan, would you agree with that? Yeah, cool. Or Laura, a great buyer to me is someone who is in town for the weekend to buy a home. Now, question, if you were that buyer, Hervé, would you be out driving around looking at for sale by owners, or would you be working with a professional like me? Yeah, of course you would. Now, let's say for a moment you're the real estate agent who's working with that buyer. Are you driving around showing them homes that are being sold by owner? Or are you showing them homes that are listed by a professional like me? By a professional like me, of course. So if you're not attracting one of the 2 buyers that we just described as a great buyer, who are you attracting? Now, that's the script. It's their job to think about the answer to that question. Now, you're dropping bombs and walking away. They don't necessarily have to give you the answer right now. You're giving them something to think about for the future. All right, so in shift, I want you to go page 22 to 25. We're going right to the front of the book. And we're just going to have a conversation on mindset. And 23 through 25. If I said 22, I was wrong. All right. All right, so on the bottom of the page, Gary Keller says, when a shift occurs, confusion follows. Now, first of all, are we in a shift? And the answer to that, guys, for me would be, it depends. It depends on how you look at that question. For homeowners, not necessarily. A shift means we're moving from one market to another. We're moving from a hot seller's market to a buyer's market. We're moving from a market where inventory is low and supply is high, like the market we've been in, to a market where there's more inventory and less supply. more inventory and less demand. That's a shift when the prices start to drop. Now, there's another shift that all of you are dealing with right now. Is it easy to be a real estate agent right now? Say no. Is it brutally hard to be a real estate agent right now? Say yes.
Yes.
Are listings easy to find, guys? Say no. If you're listing properties, are you finding lots of people who want to sell their home? If you have a buyer who wants to buy a home, are there lots of properties to show that buyer?
No. Nope.
Is it possible that there's none? Yeah. So to me, that's a shift. It's a shift for you. Now keep listening. When a shift occurs, confusion follows, not only in the marketplace, but also in the mind and body. What to think and what to do becomes fuzzy because what once worked is no longer working, and you may not know why. For real estate agents that have been doing this for a while, they've been getting lots of people who are calling them, who are telling them, hey, I want to sell my house. Hey, I want to move. And they're busy listing houses and selling homes. And now all of a sudden, nobody's calling them. That's a shift. Confusion. What do I do? Because what I was doing isn't working anymore. When a market shifts, there is only one thing to do: shift with it. In truth, there are two shifts you must make: a mental shift and an action shift. I love seeing all of you who are taking notes, by the way. It's awesome. We've got 19 on Zoom and 10 in the room. And one of the cool things about Zoom is, guys, I can see you. I see those of you who are taking notes and the ones who aren't. Victoria Gordo is always taking notes. I love that. I believe that your life will either be about your problems or your opportunities. You'll either be running away from something or running towards something. Which one are you doing? To survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift to run towards what you want and avoid the temptation of running away from what you most fear. One approach lifts you up and the other drags you down. You must keep both eyes on your target and not the ever-moving market. Now on page 25, bottom of the page, Gary Keller goes on to say, keep your perspective. There's that word. So at the beginning of this conversation, I asked you to write down 3 words: mindset, perspective, and action. You're going to hear all 3 of those words in the conversation today: mindset, perspective, and action. I also asked you to write down that mindset is 90% of success, and that 90% of mindset is perspective. Perspective is huge. It's important. Judge your success over the length of your career, not the high or low of any single year. Know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. Want me to repeat that? Cool. Know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. To make a strong mental shift, be clear about your situation and what it is you want. One more time. To make a strong mental shift, be clear about your situation and what it is you want. So what is the situation? Little to no inventory. How's that? What do I want? To get my unfair share. If I were to ask you guys, I searched new listings in Coral Springs, Parkland, and year to date, I asked you how many people have put their home on the market, how many new listings there are 7 days into the year in Coral Springs, Parkland. 7 days. How many new listings have there been? Want to take a guess? Anybody? In the first 7 days of January or February, sorry guys. In the first 7 days of February, how many listings have been taken? 189. That number surprise you? Yeah. And do you look at it a little bit different? Yes. Does anybody in the room have a goal of taking more than 189 listings a month? Jonathan, put your hand down. Does anybody on Zoom have a goal of taking more than 189 listings a month? No. Then is there nothing available to list? There's lots available to list. You have to go get your unfair share. What do you want? You don't want to get your fair share. You want to go get your unfair share. Write down and prioritize the necessary steps you must take to achieve your goals. What are the necessary steps that you need to take in order to achieve your goals? In other words, what is your action plan? Now you're focused on what you want. You know what you need to do, and you know what comes first. So, what are you waiting for? In The Millionaire Real Estate Agent on page 71, the 9 ways a millionaire real estate agent thinks. One of the ways a millionaire real estate agent thinks is think action. And Gary says that when you're clear on what needs to be done, it's time to get into action. What does that look like? Well, if it were me, I would circle prospect every day. I would find a home that sold recently in a neighborhood that I have a buyer for. All of you have buyers who are looking for homes that are not on the market. And I would call everybody in that neighborhood, or I would walk and knock on every door. And I would simply tell them, I have a buyer looking for a great home like yours. Matter of fact, I have a buyer who wants to live in this neighborhood, and they're looking for a home like yours. And as you know, there's nothing for sale. And I was just curious, who do you know that might be thinking of selling their home in the next 6 days? Action. I would get on the phone and I would call for sell by owners, and I would tell them, I would ask them, if I could show you how I could sell your home for more money in less time, would you be interested in seeing how I could do that? Now we get into a mindset. Remember, 90% of success is mindset. We get into a mindset that for sell by owners aren't going to list their home because they're selling and that they don't need us. Now, first of all, yes, they're selling. And secondly, they do need you. And here's why. Because even though they can sell their home without you, you're going to sell their home for more money and less time with less hassles. You're going to sell their home for more money in less time with less hassles. Tom Hopkins, in his book, How to Master the Art of Listing and Selling Real Estate, talks about changing their base. If I can help that for sell by owner change their base from netting more money, because why are they selling by owner? To save on the commission. And if I can help them change their base from saving money on the commission to basing their decision on netting more money in less time with fewer hassles, then I can help them self-discover that they're actually better off hiring a professional like me. Remember, they won't change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. Whose job is it to provide the new information? Yours. How do you do that? Ask questions. Change the way you look at things, things you look at change. I would call expireds every single day. Now, if a home didn't sell in today's market, something's wrong. However, it still happens. True? Are there expired listings? Yes. And I would tell them, when a home doesn't sell that should have, like yours, script, write it down. It usually comes down to one of three reasons: either price, presentation, or marketing. And just out of curiosity, which of those three do you believe is the reason your home didn't sell? Now, remember, they go to script school. Their script is probably going to be because the real estate agent didn't do their job. And your response is, that may be true. And if I could see your home, in other words, if I could pop by today for 15 minutes and take a look at your home, not only could I potentially bring you an offer, but I would actually also be able to tell you why your home didn't sell. Would you be interested in knowing that? Get into action. Don't settle for anything less than the standard that you've set for the day. You want to be more successful? Don't go home until you schedule an appointment. It's just that simple. Don't stop until you've scheduled an appointment. It's just that simple. I'm going to go back to how I started. Mindset, perspective, action. 90% of success is mindset. 90% of mindset is perspective. Change the way you look at things, and things you look at change. 189 listings in Coral Springs, Parkland. That's a number a lot higher than all of us were thinking. Now, if I went into that same search and I said, guess how many of those 189 were listed by your office? What would you guess? 4.2%. 4.2%. By the way, that's the second highest in our market. And there's still a ton of opportunity for us to improve. All right, raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Talk to me if you're in the room. Tell me what you heard. Christina.
Mindset, perspective, and action. Actually, after my mindset yesterday, this, I was prepared with my things and I put it in action.
I love that. And you did. And if I can coach you, can I?
Yes.
Cool, because I was going to do it anyways. If I can coach you, I would tell you, let's change the mindset just a little bit, because you said you were afraid a couple times. What if you believed that every single person you spoke to wanted to talk to you? What if you believed that you were going to provide valuable information that they needed, and that you were providing a service that they needed? You were not annoying them or disturbing them or invading on their privacy. You were providing them with valuable information, and not only do they need it, but they want you to talk to them. Matter of fact, they want to hire you. They're home, they're happy, they want to list with me. They're home, they're happy, they want to list with me. Right? Okay. Vicky and then Victoria. It's the V's.
I fully believe in everything that you said. Creativity. We have to be creative, and we have to just detach ourselves from the outcome. And I think that we all forget